listener.
You're live and listening to us on the air.
You're live on the Island Shuffle. Listener, go ahead.
Go ahead with that, whatever grievance you have. We're listening to you, the listener.
Shout it out.
Holler it.
You're on the bus. It's too slow. Why don't you say out loud how much you don't like the person beside you?
Or if you're at work and trying to get away with listening to a podcast while on the clock, say out loud what it is about your job and office situation that really just grinds you to smithereens.
This carpet is dirty.
The lunch office is filled with rats. You know, the lunch office.
Your complaint is way better than mine. You really know what it's like to have grievances.
I understand that it is hard.
Firstly, the lunch office, necessary part of
You
offices.
gotta have it. You have
Dedicated entirely to
the
lunch.
You have the work office, the lunch office, the lobby office, and of course the piss office.
Oh, wow. There we go. Welcome to the Island Shuffle.
Yes.
Home of jokes.
It took us, I'm going to say less than a minute, I think. Maybe around a minute to say the word piss.
To say the word piss, and you know you like it. We like to say it for you. That's why we have a piss guarantee every time. You'll hear the word piss, and if not, just email us at the Island Shuffle, and we will we will email you back. Email. It will be, the subject will be piss, and the only word contained in it. Well, you can guess what it is.
Yeah, I figure you can figure that one out. We love to say the word piss on the show, and you love to hear it. So what do you say we get right to it and start talking piss?
All right, let's piss on this show. We
We
watched the show Lost.
The show Lost is what this show is about. My name is Bean.
My name is James.
And together we watch a random episode of the show every week. And this week it's a season 6 episode, which
yes, it is.
Notoriously quality season 6 episode.
It is the worst episode we've seen in a long time.
It's been a minute since we've been in season 6, and it's been a minute since season 6 has been quite so bad.
We watched season 6, episode 13, The Last Recruit.
Yes.
Honestly, I don't really know what that's even in reference to.
You know what's interesting? We'll get to it in the questions and answers thing, I think.
Absurd.
Yeah, not.
And also, if you asked me to recite what happened,
well, listen,
I wouldn't be able to.
It's a convoluted, complex episode where it seems like there's a lot happening. Nothing
occurs. Nothing takes place.
Nothing of consequence occurs.
There's very little change from the beginning to end.
I would argue there are 2 events of consequence throughout this whole episode. And even they represent a reversion to status quo in some way. So it's not even like, where do you even start with an episode like this?
Well, where do you want to start? Do you want to start on the island or in the alternate world?
God damn, do I ever the pick of the litter I got right here. Wowee. Let's just start on the island stuff. Let's
do
it
go for it. Let's trudge into it.
So Jack, we just to remind you of the stakes. Locke is dead.
This is like 5 episodes before the end of the entire show.
Before the end of the entire show.
And it has at this point become so needlessly complex and so meaningless that it's become difficult to even remember what is taking place.
To provide context for this is such a trivial ordeal. I don't even know how I can to process what that even means. If I tell you that the shape-shifting smoke monster that has tormented our beloved cast for centuries is now taking the form of Locke, possessing Claire and Saeed in some way, and also has a merry other band of travelers with him as well. What does that really mean?
I don't know.
To the layman.
Here's the questions that I would ask.
Yeah.
One is, does he ever return to his smoke form, or is he? And I mean, in this episode, even specifically, or does he choose to walk around only as a human being, which seems to me very slow, compared to what he was capable of.
Yes.
And then also, do the characters of Saeed and Claire change in any great way by being zombies?
Well, let me hit you with those questions one by one. One, in this episode, He does not spend any time in the smoke form. He's strictly being Deadlock.
He is just a walking, talking body.
He's
But
just Terry O'Quinn.
we are to understand that he is still the Smoke Monster.
And we have seen him be the Smoke Monster before.
And he's choosing to be Locke.
So the idea
for some reason.
For some reason. I'm sure that some past episode was like, well, because Jacob fell on such and such a dinker, that means that he's Locke forever or something.
Like how there is this like tangentially, or it's sort of, they try and make it seem a little bit like he is Locke so people will trust him or something. But all the people ever talk about is how he's not Locke.
Yeah, people are always just like, oh, whatever that is, it sure ain't Locke, so we better not trust him.
Yeah.
In regards to your other question, what is the significance of Saeed and Claire being possessed? You get the sense that with Claire's in this season, she spends it all frazzle-haired, and the intent, I think, is that she's meant to replace Russo, a crazed mother who lost her child, and now she's in the wilderness. In addition to that, she's also been taken by Locke now. That fails to work for many reasons. For one reason, Claire's not good at being Rousseau.
No, she is not. Sorry, Claire.
For another reason, the implication of being with Locke seems to have no bearing on her character.
No, exactly.
For instance, the first time we see her, she seems fine. She has a friendly talk with Jack about how they just had a conversation with Locke, and he's just like, "Hey, man."
I had to turn to you and ask if she is normal now.
Yeah, and she seemed normal. She's later in the episode, she has a gun and she's sad about it. So it just is whatever. It's just whatever. And whatever it is, it's whatever.
Similarly with Saeed, he is. Can I just explain the Saeed thing?
Yes.
Just because it's so quick, even though this is not. I think chronology doesn't even matter at this point.
Absolutely.
Saeed, for some reason, is tasked with the job by Locke. Locke takes Saeed aside, who Saeed is a zombie possessed by Locke in some way.
Yes.
Or something along those lines. And he takes Saeed aside and says, "Saeed, Desmond is sitting in the well. You need to kill him."
You know the well?
And Saeed is really torn, and it seems like he very much doesn't want to kill Desmond. And then he goes to the well. Desmond is indeed sitting in the well. Saeed has a gun pointed at Desmond. And to our understanding, I don't think he kills Desmond.
That is correct.
Now, what bearing does Saeed being a zombie have on this entire situation? How does it change Saeed's actions in any way? And if so, why did he become a zombie?
It truly, truly does not matter. I think the implication of the scene, the thing that I think they were trying to go for, is maybe he can be turned. Maybe he's not all lost. Maybe there's still hope for Saeed after all.
What I got from it is that he is not in the least lost, and that he is not actually a zombie.
Yes, he is. It doesn't. There's
Seemed to me that he is entirely the person that he was before death.
There is a complete lack of tension throughout season 6. And that is incredibly apparent throughout this whole episode, where I can if you give me the outline of what's happening, if you explain to me the premise of oh my god, Saeed comes back from the dead, but then he's he's all fucked up and a zombie now. And he think he's working for Locke, but then he has a change of heart because he has this real heart-to-heart with he can't bring himself to kill Desmond. He's still got that humanity in him. That should be as fucking cranked as that is, that should be sick.
That should somehow is rendered completely boring because none of it is believable. And it's mirrored in the alternate reality stuff, alternate universe, where it's just the writers have just for some reason made these really insane conditions, or they've made it so you make Saeed a zombie. Those are really insane conditions to put on a character.
Yeah.
Then they just ignore those conditions.
Yeah. It has no bearing on anything.
And the same with the alternate universe where they're
okay,
everyone's life is very different, except for these three characters whose lives are essentially the very same. And it's what? That...
It doesn't... it doesn't add up to anything.
No, exactly.
The most exciting that the Flash Sideways gets, even that amounts to nothing. We can't get into the Flash Sideways stuff yet. Let's wrap up this island stuff first and foremost.
All right.
As you can tell by the rather unconventional way we're doing this, we are just fed up with season 6's bullshit.
It's very bad. Bad show. End it.
And honestly, I think this season they got the hint, and they were like, "We better wrap this up."
This is it. This is garbage. We're not good at TV anymore.
We've hit the bottom. We can't keep going. The first scene of the show is Jack and Locke having a convo, and Jack's just like, "Were you my dad that one time at the start of the show?" And Locke is like, "Yes, I did it because I was trying to help you find water. I've only ever wanted to help you, and if now that you all are all here, we are all together, we can leave the island together. Oh boy." And so that seems to be the stakes, is Locke has gathered pretty much all the significant characters into one place.
All the significant figures.
I think Ricky's the only absentee, but everyone else of note is at this camp of Locke's, and Locke gives a big speech about how the real John Locke was a sucker and a fucker. He was a complete chump who believed that the island was a miraculous place worth saving. And guess what? Also, you guys are stuck here because you were chosen by Jacob. Against your own will, you were dragged into the web of fate that this island entangles. And what I'm trying to do is free you. I'm trying to help you out. And not even John Locke, not even Terry O'Quinn opposite Matthew Fox can fucking make this shit work.
It doesn't work.
No,
it's
it does not.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine. Whatever.
But
that's what he says. Those are the stakes that we're dealing with.
Those are the quote-unquote stakes that we're dealing with. These aren't my notes. That's my phone. This is my notes. Claire seems fine. There's not only are the broad strokes of what's happening some stupid ass shit, there's tons of ridiculous lines throughout this show that make me go wow out loud. For instance, just before Locke gives a big speech about how it's glad we're having the gang back together, we're gonna go home, we're gonna get you guys all off this island for real and finally. Before that happens, Kate and Jack are sitting quiet on a log. They're sitting sad, and they're like, and Kate looks out and sees Saeed and sees Claire and says, "Boy, they're really different now." And Jack says, "I guess we're all different now."
Oh, fuck you,
Great.
Jack.
Great. I guess if you say it, it's true. If you have a character say a thing, it's true.
You piece of shit.
Jack read the script and so knows that everything's
that
different
line
now.
is cornier than Jack's tattoos.
It truly is. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. It's great. Everyone's leaving the island. What's the problem? It's fine. It's good.
It's good.
It's good because everyone's leaving the island, finally.
But it's bad because we don't trust Locke.
We don't trust Locke. And guess what? We shouldn't trust Locke because guess what? Here comes one of Widmore's goons. Also, so remember how Charles Widmore's here, I guess? One of Charles Widmore's henchmen comes up, or henchwomen comes up and says, "Hey, listen up. You stole our submarine. Give it back to us, or else." And
they
then
just say you stole something from us.
You stole something from us. They don't even say what. Actually, I think we learned that it's a submarine.
Yeah. I don't remember learning in this episode that it was a submarine.
No,
though.
I don't think we actually
did.
did.
They hide that from you.
I think they
in
do.
an attempt to lower the massively high stakes that have been set.
Exactly.
You know? In an attempt to create just a real mystery to chew on.
Oh my god.
What did they steal?
5 episodes from the finale, the real bones
it was
we're chewing
a
on
submarine.
is what the heck could it be? What another clue for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yummy.
Finally figuring out the secrets of the island. Oh, the stolen submarine.
The stolen submarine. Where could it have gone? It was the fake Locke who twiddled it away with his magical smoke.
He hid it underwater. Genius, Locke.
Unbelievable. Oh, Lord.
The mystery is incredible.
The web gets ever more tangled with every passing breath. The show's stupid and bad. Basically the goon says, "Give us back your thing or else." And to show he's serious, Widmore launches a missile next to the camp. It doesn't hit anybody, but they say bring it back by whenever, by sundown, or else next time it won't miss.
Crazy missiles coming now.
So the die is cast. Locke's crew is here.
The mystery thing needs to come back,
It's-
or else the missiles will hit them.
Oh, baby. What?
Because you know how missiles are exciting.
You know, listen, one thing that I like to see on Lost is missiles coming from the sky. That's my
Yeah,
favorite part of the show.
That's sort of what it was all about.
It's really good to me. So, while Locke is kind of guiding people and being like, all right, we got to move now because we got to get the heck off this island. And while this is all happening, he's like telling Saeed to go kill Desmond.
As you do.
As you do. Sawyer pulls Kate aside and is like, all right, listen up. It might seem like we're with Locke, but we're not staying with Locke. Here's what we're going to do while you're moving. You get Kate, Jack, Hurley, and of course, Frank Lapidus. And of course, Frank Lapidus is coming along.
You know, the other primary character.
The protagonist, the single most crucial character of season 6, Frank the Pilot Lapidus. He's coming too because we love him. He's my best friend and I love him and he's your best friend too.
Because we know him well and we just want Lapidus off this island.
If we leave him behind, what are we gonna be able to live with ourselves?
Totally.
Meanwhile, let's leave. We can't take Claire or Saeed because it's too late for them.
Saeed. They're too far gone.
They're too far gone.
We don't care about them anymore. Lapidus is a primary character now. You know the ones. You know the people you've watched for 6 years.
You know,
fuck them. Put Lapidus on instead.
Put the man who only ever talks about planes.
This feels like in sports whenever like a team trades a very good player for like cap reasons and replaces them with a bad player.
Yes, this is that. This is definitely. Oh yeah, Frank Lapidus.
It's like, oh, you just traded down.
Frank Lapidus.
I love Lapidus.
Frank Lapidus is Dellavedova on the fucking like $70 million contract. That's who he is.
Fucking dumb.
Truly ridiculous. So guess what? They're double crossing him. But listen. The plan is in motion. While the crew is going, they act. Jack says, "All right, guys, we're going. We gotta go now. We gotta go right now." And they ditch. And who do they ditch? But Claire. Claire sees them go. Oh no! What?
Oh no! Claire is coming with the gun.
Claire is coming with the gun. So here's the thing that happens: is that Jack and Claire are chatting while walking. And Jack's just kind of like, so you've been with Locke how long? Claire's like, pretty much since you guys abandoned me. Mm-hmm. And then almost immediately Jack is like, all right, we need to go right now. And they all get to the boat. They all get to the Elizabeth, the famous boat that Libby sold Desmond that one time. And they get to this boat and they're like, all right, let's go. We're sailing off and we're out of here. And
oh yeah, Libby gave that boat to Desmond.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he didn't sell it. He just gave it. He just gave it, and here it is.
Oh my god, this show!
It's arrived. Here it is.
Hurley's would-be girlfriend who gets shot immediately, so Hurley can be sad.
Yes, Hurley doesn't
gave Desmond a boat.
Hurley doesn't
so he can chase after a woman.
Hurley doesn't even have a think about this. Hurley just gets on. I don't think Hurley does much throughout this show except for hug Claire one time.
Yeah.
And maybe say like maybe Saeed's okay. So. The plan is hatched and it's fine and they're going, but look who catches up but Claire.
Claire is here and she has a gun.
And while Sawyer and Jack might be like, no, these guys aren't coming, Kate has a moment and says, the whole reason I came back to the island is to rescue you, Claire, and bring you back to your son. I'm sorry that I ever took Aaron, and I never should have raised him, but listen to me.
Who should have raised him then?
Who should have raised him? A lady.
He was abandoned.
You should have left her with the lady who is going to get possessed by Locke. Like
you should have given Locke. You should have given the smoke demon the baby.
Yeah,
that is safe in Los Angeles.
Yeah, for sure. She would have been definitely safe on this desert island with magical, incomprehensible powers. Super duper safe place for a baby. Yeah, here's a moment that is like this long storyline of Claire took Aaron, but now Kate has Aaron, and it doesn't even kind of land at all.
No.
It just like happens, and who cares?
There's no drama even.
No.
Because it's like so clear cut where it's
Mhm.
like,
Of course, this is where Claire does the thing.
yeah, and it's just like there's no real moral dilemma with the whole
Yeah.
Claire and Kate and Aaron thing
Yeah.
because Claire is a zombie.
Yeah.
So you're like, Claire, you're dead.
Claire is a zombie. And then, of course, Claire is just like, well, I guess I'll come along with you. Because
Totally.
Kate says the thing of like, that's not really John Locke. And Claire's like, but, and then that's it. It's fine.
That's it.
Claire's fine now. Claire's good now. Before we progress with the boat scene, I know we already talked about the Saeed and Desmond at the well scene, but I really want to highlight this fucking dialogue that happens where Desmond basically says like, well, if you were going to kill me, you would have done it already. So why are you going to kill me in the first place? Saeed says, of course, because John Locke promised me something. And he promised me that he would give me back the love of my life. And Desmond's like, what do you mean? She died? She can't come back. Saeed, of course, says, well, Locke brought me back from the dead.
Good. Fair point.
Sound logic.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. And so then Desmond hits him with the, all right, well, what are you going to tell her then when she's back? When she comes back, what are you going to tell her about how she got back? And then
It's 4 minutes of them staring into each other's eyes,
Yeah.
contemplating the bombshell that was just dropped.
while Desmond is in a well. Desmond in a well is a funny sight, first of all.
It is a funny
Let
sight.
him out. And second of all, like, is that all it takes?
Is that all it takes?
All it takes is some, like, fucking just minor logic. Saeed had to think about it for a second to be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be aligned with the shape-shifting smoke demon, actually.
Saeed also could have just been like, who cares? I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly.
We're zombies.
I'm a zombie. My moral compass is off the hook.
But for some reason, his moral compass is the same as it would be if he weren't a zombie. And I don't know what a zombie is in this world.
Did we ever even see Saeed do any, like, thing?
No.
No.
We see him be unresponsive
We
at
see
one
him,
point.
yeah, we see him be, like, sad and looking and, like, leave. And that's all. It's nothing.
It's bad.
It's ridiculous. So, the boat's sailing back. The boat is sailing from the main island to the tiny island where the submarine is, I believe. And Widmore's people are. It's sailing, and Jack's having a conversation with Sawyer. They're basically like, you're like, boy, excited to get the hell off of this rock finally, even though, like, I left and came back. And then Jack says, well, wait a second here. Listen to this little nugget I got for you. This doesn't feel right to me. I don't know about you, but I don't trust this Locke guy. And if Locke wants us to leave so bad, maybe there's a very good reason that we can stay.
All right.
Sawyer, to his credit, says, fuck you, get off my boat right
he
away.
does. He's like, I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
This sucks.
I'm leaving immediately. I'm not putting up with this bullshit.
We are
from
on
you.
a boat. We are sailing away.
We are getting the hell out of here. We are sailing to a submarine to leave, and you are going to not fuck this up for me. And Jack is just like, all right, I guess I'm outie. And
He has the most incredible jump off of a boat. He pencil dives.
he doesn't even pencil dive. He just like steps
He
off.
just walks
He
off.
just steps off and falls like.
It's like he
perfectly
misses a
vertically.
step or something.
It's really, really good to see.
It's so weird.
It's definitely my favorite thing that I saw in the episode for sure.
Do you think that whenever they did it, like, what is his name? Matthew Fox?
Yeah.
Matthew Fox jumped off and everyone was like, is that really what he fucking did? Well, I guess we don't have a change of clothes for him and he's already all wet. Just keep it as it is.
One and done. The classic one take loss.
It was a shit take.
It was a shit take.
He did a bad job.
He did not do a good job with that dive. It did not have the urgency of someone who had a realization.
Totally.
A major pivotal realization. It was just like, well, better stroll into the water.
And it's so funny too because it's just like pants and boots and a backpack.
This
and
is the
it's just
one-
such a weird image.
This is one of the two like actual things of consequences that happens in the episode where something. Oh my gosh! A character
There's
has made
splintering.
a character has made a decision that is going to have consequences. Oh
and
my
the
goodness!
moment in which it occurs is so hilariously underwhelming.
Oh my god! It's ridiculous. This show, I tell you, what the heck? Anyways, so the boat lands, and guess what?
What?
It's who's on the beach but Jin. And Sun there too, and they haven't seen each other in seasons, and they reunite.
Literally like a season.
Literally like seasons.
Yeah.
And they have a reunion, and they run and they kiss and they say "I love you" to each other in perfect English.
Why do they talk English?
Why do they talk English to
they
each other?
They are Korean.
They
have lived in Korea their entire lives.
It is. I understand that it has been long established that Sun speaks good English.
Can speak English. Yeah.
And that Jin also has learned English, but they are.
This is their reunion.
This is their reunion, and
they used to speak Korean to each other,
and now they say, "I love you. I never stopped looking for you."
Why? Why are they speaking English now?
It completely deflates the other moment of consequence of the episode, which is this huge reunion.
Sun and Jin get reunited.
Finally,
after
they're back.
A very long time away.
Oh my
and
God.
we saw whenever they die together.
Yes.
They also like say their goodbyes to each other in English.
In perfect
and it
English.
just is. Did they just forget that the characters are Korean?
They could not afford a Korean translator, I
Yeah.
guess. That's all I couldn't think of.
Why is that taking place?
They can only afford one take and no translator.
I speak French. And
Do you think it would have been better if they spoke French?
Well, just my final moments, I can guarantee you, will not be spoken in French, especially if I'm dying in the presence of someone who speaks English.
If you're dying in the presence of someone who speaks your first language, you will probably speak your first language,
especially
think.
if that is also their first language.
Yes, of course.
Sort of the way that language works.
Yeah, I'm no linguist, but this seems like some bunk to me. So
But it's good they got to the island. They're gonna get off.
I think so. The premise of this whole getaway was that Sawyer had struck some kind of deal with Widmore. But what do you know when the Widmore's nerd crew has their guns out and they say, "No, the deal's off.
The deal's off.
The deal's off."
Also, what is the deal? We don't know.
We don't know.
Has Sawyer really done anything?
We don't know. No, he just said a thing.
He ran away.
He ran away like he always does. So on the other island, Jack has just swam the entire breadth of the channel.
Very long way in boots with a backpack.
Yes, and Locke is there.
And pants.
Locke is waiting for him and saying, "Heck of a day for a swim" or some shit.
That is what he says. It's bad.
So basically, Widmore's people, they round up the people who made it to Widmore time, and then they say, "All right, you got to lock on Locke and Jack. All right, fire the missile." And the missile is fired, and it goes boom!
Right beside them.
Right.
You know, close enough to make them be thrown about 8 to 10 feet, but not close enough to do any significant damage to anyone.
Yes, the classic thing. And then
you know how the missile works.
Yeah, and so while all of Locke's henchmen seem to be dead, Locke picks up Jack and says, brings him away, and he says, "Don't worry, it'll be okay. You're with me now." The implication of this is that Jack has been now possessed by him, right? That's not what happened.
Yeah, that sort of works.
That's what I think the last recruit is supposed to be. But it doesn't even it's not. That's not what happened.
He's not dead, right?
He doesn't die.
Yeah.
No. It's completely ridiculous. So there's one more moment I want to highlight before we move away from the sideways stuff. I know we've said a lot, but listen. During the scene where they're all walking together, Sun has a chat with Locke. Except for some reason, Sun is mute. I don't know if you caught this, but Sun literally can't talk.
I didn't catch this.
And draws on a notepad to Locke being like "fuck you" or whatever. And Locke's just like don't look at me. I didn't make you mute or whatever. And it's like, and So that's a thing.
That
I
takes
guess.
place, yeah.
Apparently, this is another circumstance that Sun is mute.
Sun is mute.
But of course, when she meets Jin, she
speaks again.
She speaks again
In English.
In English, and just to drive it home, it cuts away to a smiling Frank Lapidus in my favorite Frank Lapidus funny moment of the season, maybe. And he just stands there smiling, going, "Looks like somebody got their voice back."
Oh, Lapidus.
Lapidus, thank you. Thank you for your service.
Oh, he's my favorite main character.
He's the best character in season 6 by far, because at least he's not ruined. He just is a flat guy. He's just a,
That's it, right? He's not ruined.
Yeah, he's not ruined. He was born into the ruin.
Yeah, exactly. He was never a part of a good show.
No, he was not.
Lapidus. But there's another world
Listen.
where things of consequence may or may not be happening.
Whoa, what do you say? What do you think?
I think nothing of consequence is happening. We just get a series in the alternate reality, the alternate universe, which is sort of the flashback of season 6.
Yes.
We get a series of scenes that, to my understanding, do not amount to anything.
More or less, they don't. This is the alternate timeline where 815 landed. In LA, safe and sound. But everything's different. Whoa, we do. How did they do? What the heck? What's going on? How could it be?
So, the different things that we have is, one,
Yes.
Saeed. Well, no, let's start with Sawyer, I guess.
Yes.
Sawyer is a bit of a link here.
Yes.
Because he interacts with two people.
Yes. Sawyer is a cop now instead of a criminal.
Which we have seen before.
Yes. Jack is the same but has a son now. Claire is the same.
Claire is the very same.
Claire's still there.
Nothing is different.
Sun and Jin are the same? They're the same?
Except Sun gets shot.
Sun has been shot, I guess. That's what's different there. Desmond is a weirdo.
Desmond, we don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's going on with Desmond. We see
he
Desmond
does not do anything in particular.
Desmond runs over Locke in the previously on for some reason, and that is the inciting incident of most of these flash sideways. Is Locke getting sent to the hospital, and then many other things happening, and in that classic way of people run into each other, and oh my gosh, we were on the same flight together, and whoa.
It is so the alternate universe in this episode is just a repetition of we were on the same flight together.
Yeah.
I know this person. Don't I know you from Flight 815?
Yeah.
I think they should rename. They should have a show that's just the alternate universe Lost.
Yes.
And it will be called Flight Connection.
Yeah. Now we're cooking.
Yeah, isn't that good?
I think
it's sort of a play on words.
I think if they have time to flesh this out and have a fun one with it, then I think we can really get something going instead of just very quickly being like, well, Sawyer's a cop. Now they're meeting each other. Isn't that, well, okay? And spending a third of the final season that way.
But that's what we get instead. And so what happens here? What do we get?
Oh my God, it's so many disconnected scenes that it's just incredibly difficult to even piece any of it together.
Let's just list them off one by one. We have Saeed comes home.
Saeed comes home
to his girlfriend, wife.
Yes.
Who knows?
And is packing, we need to leave now. And then who should come to arrest him? But good old Sawyer.
And Miles.
And Miles,
because
too.
they are partners.
They're partners. That's the one thing that I like, is that Sawyer and Miles are partner cops.
And that's the whole Saeed part.
That's all of that. Benjamin Linus rides in the ambulance with John Locke, who's just been crushed.
Because they're both teachers at the same school.
They're both teachers at the same high school.
But they don't know each other.
They don't know each other, really. They're asking Ben all the questions, and Ben's like, I don't know, I just met this guy. Don't worry about me.
But I teach with him.
I teach with him. I don't know what Sawyer arresting Saeed has anything to do with anything.
That one is the most out of left field.
It's so out of left field. Also, Sun has been shot and is being sent to the same hospital as Locke.
And they see each other.
They see each
whenever
other,
they're both
and
going
Sun
in.
freaks out for some reason. It's not clear what that's about.
Do you want to go to the hospital? Just get the whole hospital over with?
Let's get what's left in the hospital.
Well, Sun and Jin.
Yes.
Jin says everything's okay, and Sun asks, but the baby? And he says, the baby's okay too. We're all gonna be okay. And then they hug.
They hug.
And also, John Locke
Mm-hmm.
goes into surgery.
Mm-hmm.
The surgery people call Jack in because
Yes.
it's a very complex surgery.
Yes.
And then Jack goes into surgery and says, "I know this man."
Yes. That is a thing that happens.
And that's the end of the Sun and Jin
Yes.
Locke.
Jack. It's all so minute and none of it adds up to anything.
No, it doesn't.
That it doesn't even really. The only real scene of like consequence even feels like stretching it, but like the only thing we really haven't covered, let's say, is Claire is basically going to a hotel to like meet with the people she's giving up the baby to. She's going to do this, and who should stroll in but Desmond? And Desmond,
fresh off of hitting John Locke with a car.
fresh off of hitting John Locke with a car.
And you know where Desmond's going? A lawyer. So that adds up.
That all adds up. Yeah, Desmond.
I just hit someone with my car.
Desmond is God. Desmond is being like blatantly, openly a creep to Claire. He's like, "Hey, I recognize you from the flight," and Claire's like, "Okay, cool." And Desmond's like, "Your name's Claire, right? You're pregnant, right? Hey, why don't you come see my lawyer? Adoption's a tricky process. You should probably meet a lawyer.
You should have a lawyer.
You should have a lawyer."
He's like, no, thank you. And he's like, come on, come meet my lawyer.
Come meet my lawyer. Why don't you come meet my lawyer? Come on. And like, Claire eventually is just like, all right, sure.
Let's go see the lawyer.
It's fine. Like, Claire like shows a bit of reticence, but eventually is just like, you know what? This seems like a great idea. I should meet a random lawyer before I go to my scheduled appointment about my adoption.
Totally.
And she goes to meet the lawyer, and the lawyer's like, "Oh, we've been looking for you, actually. What the heck?" Turns out Jack was also on his way to the same lawyer for the reading of their dad's will.
You know what I wonder about this?
What do you wonder?
So I guess is the implication that Desmond was somehow like hired by the lawyer to get Claire in that room?
Yes.
Okay.
Somehow. There's some kind of like, remember in how we saw the first part of the finale and we saw that like Desmond and Hurley were like up to something. They were up to some kind of something. This is part of that somehow.
Okay.
Desmond's like woke or something.
So Desmond's up to something. Desmond is the link to the whole block box.
It all comes down to Desmond if you think about it. And
okay, that makes perfect sense then. And in that case, that makes perfect sense.
It just makes perfect sense if you think about it. I really find it funny that not only is the show arbitrarily shoving all these characters together, it literally brings a character into the fold to arbitrarily shove them together because it doesn't have time to come up with more contrivances.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a way to get Claire and Jack in the same room aside from just having someone go, "Hey, go in this room."
True, and you can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
That's not a thing you can do. Not even Lost would stoop that low.
But
although maybe it should.
Yeah.
And they meet, and they're like, "We had the same dad." Boing. I think we've mentioned this before, but Claire and Jack, if it's revealed eventually that they have the same dad.
They have the same dad.
They have the same dad.
Boing.
That's another. It
Boing.
doesn't matter. It's fine. This is
it doesn't amount to anything. That doesn't have any consequences.
That's the episode, isn't it?
That's the episode.
That's the whole episode. I feel like I could have like gotten more out of describing the individual grains on a piece of wood. That would have been a more enriching experience.
Yeah.
Than watching this episode.
I've taken shits with more character development than this episode of Lost.
Yeah, they have a beginning, middle, and end.
Exactly.
They sometimes have consequences.
But this is just a mess. This never should have went to air.
They should have seen what they were doing in season 6 and halted the brakes and been like, what the fuck are we doing?
This is unforgivably bad.
It's ridiculous. As much as like 4 and 5 are clearly like cranked in their own way, but like at least they're still fun. At least the characters are given stakes and consequences and shit. And as much as that's a low bar, at least it's like fun and watchable. Not like this.
This is unwatchable.
This is ridiculous.
The characters are so unlikable.
It is. I would call it bad. I would call this episode a bad episode of TV and one of the worst episodes of Lost, maybe.
I would give it a 2 out of 10.
I don't even know if I'd go that high. I think there are definitely, at least like the episode following this has like a big goofy ass bomb explosion, and like characters die, and it is sort of matters, except it doesn't really. Cause anyways, all right, you get it. You get the audience. You get it. We don't like it. Well, when we watch it, we don't have fun with it. In fact, I have so much unfun with it that listen. This is an episode that raises no questions. In fact, it raises very, very few questions. But thankfully, Lostpedia.
That's really interesting, given the fact that I don't understand anything that took place within it.
Basically, none of it matters.
Yes, the classic thing to do.
Yes.
Nearing the end of a very complex show.
Yes. Just have an episode where
nothing means anything.
Nothing happens and the stakes are null. But listen, what few questions there are, Lostpedia was kind enough to gather us. So what do you say for some trivia time?
I'd love to hear them.
We normally would like to do this alternatingly, but as you guys may know, James has never seen the finale, so he is still in the dark of the exact nature of this alternate timeline business. So when it comes to season 6 episodes, for now, I'll be reading them to James in the interest of not spoiling him.
Thank you. You spoil me in other ways.
I spoil you plenty. I buy you a big tub of ice cream every damn Sunday. It's plenty
big tub of ice cream every Sunday.
Sprinkles,
put a cherry
pecans.
on top to Sunday.
Oh, Sunday, baby. Sunday's ice cream day for us.
Sunday fun day.
Sunday fun day.
Oh, you should have seen that. I just put a paper in the basket.
You did it? Whoa.
Swish.
You swished
This
it.
is, can you confirm, 8 foot?
That is an 8-foot, and in fact, that is a basketball hoop that is up in the air.
Yeah.
And we are recording this from the Air Canada Center. I think it's called something.
It's the Scotiabank Arena
the
now.
Scotiabank Arena. And Drake is off to
Drake
the side.
is here tonight.
Drake is applauding. What did you think of that, Drake?
Oh, so good.
Yeah, thanks, Drake. I know you're busy. I'll let you leave now.
See you later, bud.
That Drake. I love when he shows up.
Oh, he's so cool.
He lives in the Air Canada Center with us, the Scotiabank Arena, rather.
Place.
Sorry, still getting used to it. I've got 2 questions for you. And I think you know the answers to these. The first one, simple one. Let's knock it out of the gasket. Did Saeed really kill Desmond, do you think?
No, I don't think he did.
You're right. You're right. You're right about that one. And this next one might be a little more wacky. Did the monster speaking to Jack cause him to be recruited? Is that what happened in the final scene?
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't, of course.
So the name is wrong.
The name is wrong. The consequences of like the whole like cliffhanger of like, oh, Jack's with Locke is undone like immediately in the next episode.
Oh my god.
So let me just hit you with the absolute explanation that just really drives home how these poor Lostpedia guys just trying to thread this all together. No. Despite this being entertained throughout the season, it doesn't seem that letting the monster speak to you has any particular persuasive enchantment. The characters all seem
that. No, everyone has spoken to the monster.
Everyone's spoken to the monster, and except for Claire and Saeed, it's fine. The characters all seem to resist
Claire
the monster
Saeed,
fairly soon, including
fun.
Claire herself.
Yeah.
Lostpedia itself admitting that it's all just a lark.
Oh my god.
It's all just the carrot on the stick, and we were all fools the whole damn time.
We're fools.
We're friggin' goobers, aren't we?
You know what this makes me want to do?
What? Yeah, it makes. I know what you're gonna say.
Makes me want to watch more Lost.
Yeah, this is definitely. Yeah, we got it. It wasn't always this bad, was it?
It definitely was not. And you know what?
We've watched good episodes of this show, haven't we?
We have before, and I think we might again one day.
I hope we do. I hope this week it's a sweet episode. That isn't a bad one.
So I do between 1 and 60.
Yes, that is
60. 61.
1 and 60.
1 and 60.
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing it. 47.
47.
Season 5?
Season 5, indeed. We are Season 5, Episode 14. The episode is called The Variable. And
is this? Who's the Faraday?
you got it.
Yeah.
This is the only Daniel Faraday episode, and if memory serves, it's an episode.
Wow. All right, I'm in it.
What do you say we watch that episode?
I'll watch Faraday.
You want to watch Daniel Faraday and learn all about his tragic, sordid backstory?
I love that crazy guy.
He's a heck of a guy, isn't he?
He's fucking nuts.
Oh man. Well, I guess we'll watch that next week, won't we?
Well, we will.
It won't just be you and me watching it next week, will it?
Me, you, and Jack?
Me, you, and Jack. What do you say we watch it?
Our friend Jack Bailey is coming on the show.
He's coming on the show, and he's going to say, hey, and it's going to be the crossover event of the summer, I think.
I think so,
I guess
too.
now that it's...
Maybe of the fall.
Maybe of the fall. Maybe closer to fall. That's going to do it for the show. The old wrap-up, then. You can follow me on Twitter, @BarrierTrio. You can follow James Brown's goings-on at jamesbrown.space. I would heartily recommend you check out James's other podcast, Lovable Favorites, which features our future guest, Jack Bielli. If you'd like to do a little bit on what that is, because I don't understand it.
Oh, it's a Lovable Favorites is a show where we do fan fiction drawn from a hat of all your favorite characters. The most recent episode that was just released was Charlotte the Spider from Charlotte's Web goes on a date. And it's just a fun family romp for everyone, and you love it. You know what you like, and we write it just for you. So here we go.
Oh my gosh. I bet you can't wait to hear that. In all earnestness, a podcast that makes me laugh out loud in public a lot. So I recommend it heartily. We are found on twitter.com @IslandShuffle and facebook.com/TheIslandShuffle. And you can follow us there if you want some updates or funny pics from the show Lost.
Funny pics. Always a good screenshot every
Always
week.
a good screenshot of whatever wacky episode we watched that week. You can leave us a review on iTunes if you're so inclined. Finally, I'd like to say a word about Noisepace.xyz, the network that Matt made that is kind enough to host all our silly little chats about this grand old show. I've mentioned many of the other podcasts on there before. I'm just going to focus on a new podcast that's called The Stick, and it's a Homestar Runner podcast.
The Stick.
Yeah.
Wow. I love Homestar Runner.
Everybody does. Who doesn't love Homestar Runner?
Why is it called The Stick?
That's a famous location within Homestar Runner. They hang out at The Stick.
The Stick.
It's not like, it's literally just a stick poking out of the ground.
Of course.
So check that out. That's Noisepace's newest offering. They also have a bunch of other good podcasts that are all good and I like to listen to. Check them out. They're good. That's the show.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to all of our goobering and gobbering. And listen at the end of the show.